My first myth asks if it's true that the last song that Brent Myland ever sang with the Grateful Dead was actually the band's The Wait, and if it's just a real scary coincidence or purposeful that the last line of that song are the last words he ever sang. Brent died of a speedball overdose in July of 1990, and in the eyes of most, that ended the fourth formal era of the Grateful Dead's history. Literally, just days before he died, he had wrapped the Dead's summer tour, and yes, The Wait by the band was the last song they played on that tour. If you're trying to figure it out, the last line of that song is something to the effect of, "I've gotta go, but my friends can stick around." You know the song. It certainly leaves the door open to a lot of speculation on whether or not this was purposeful, but like so many other tragic music deaths, this is little more than a very scary coincidence. The police and coroner both agreed that Brent's death was an accidental overdose. So that being his last line on stage is probably a little bit more beautiful than it is scary or creepy. My next question asked if it's true that the song Book of Love was actually inspired by a toothpaste commercial. One of the truly classic songs in history, this one was released originally by the Monotones in 1957, and I have a feeling that most of you have the hook to that one bouncing around in your head right now. The song was actually so huge that the label had to reissue it in 1958, and at that time, reissues like that were almost unheard of. But did the song come from a toothpaste commercial? Actually, yeah, it did. Singer Charles Patrick said that he was inspired to write the song off of a melody he heard in a Pepsodent commercial. If you dig around on YouTube, you can find it. It's around 1957. I'm gonna link it in the links below. And if you listen to the original hook on the commercial, you can definitely hear the inspiration for the song. It's not a blatant ripoff, but you can clearly hear the similarities between the two. So yeah, toothpaste and the Book of Love, together forever. My last question asked whether or not there's really a such thing as a brown note. The brown note is one of those hilarious urban legends that people still love to believe might actually be true. For those who need a reminder, this is the one that claims when you play something at that frequency, it basically makes people lose control of their bowels. The idea is that the response to such a low frequency will cause the air to vibrate and basically just make people, as they say, lose their shit. This one is as much of a myth as anything, as legitimate scientific researchers have debunked it, as well as the guys on Mythbusters. It's been explored and tested so many times over the decades in insane depth, so this one is total myth. They've gone across all audible, subsonic, supersonic frequencies, everything you can come up with. And while some people did report nausea and shortness of breath, most of the time they found that it was due to the way that the air was vibrating as opposed to the actual frequency they were hearing. The brown note is certainly funny to think about, but in the end, it's just a load of crap. So those are my myths for this week. Be sure to check back here every Friday as I delve into some of the coolest stories in music history. If you've got a myth you want me to check out, email it to me at thedailyguru@gmail.com. You can follow me on Twitter and Facebook right here, and I'll see you guys again next time.